able to see things in the light of what you want to do. Lord, let this generation, oh God, be these people who are part of this knowledge released by you. Let a word stimulate a dormant ability in them to give expression of that capacity which is needed to produce the result which you have mandated in this season. Lord, I pray that no one that is part of this session will remain ordinary. Glorify yourself as you upgrade people's thinking and bring them to a place of better apprehension of things, for better performance, for your glory. In Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen.
One of the things I believe so much is that in every situation a person finds themselves in, God is always using that situation to bring them to a particular consciousness. And sometimes, even when we are stubborn, our stubbornness is not stronger than God's stubbornness. There's nothing we are trying to be that God is not more. Don't think that there's something you can introduce. God created everything. We are just acting what God already is. God's anger you cannot joke with, so you think you can be angry. You can't joke with God's anger. So you must understand that the reason why we degenerate to a place where we exhibit some primitive qualities that actually affect our growth, affect our performance, affect our relevance, is because of a poor understanding of who we are. Anything you are facing with a wrong understanding about its essence, it's difficult for you to be able to benefit from it. Nothing is existing for nothing. And when you don't know why a thing is existing and you want to give it your own approach, you might never be able to profit from it. For example, a small child sees fire and likes the color and wants to go and play with it, he will burn their hand. Not because the fire is fashioned to be destructive. Is the purpose of fire destruction? Fire is not fashioned to be destructive. But if you exploit it wrongly, it will affect you. So nobody is created to be bad. But when a person has a wrong drive, they become problematic in society. The problems we are seeing on a daily basis are indications that men are living without a sense of understanding of why they are existing. You will never be more productive in life than that which you have as understanding about life. The primitive level to which man is functioning does not define man's true purpose. And for us to be able to break out of unnecessary struggle, we must first find out what is man's true potency. And then we begin to ask ourselves real questions. Are we what we are fashioned to be? But when you don't even know who you are, why you are existing, you can settle just for anything. Let me tell you, there is an understanding you have where everything you see that used to excite you will not excite you any longer. But you see, you will remain under the influence of primitive things because your mind have refused to grow. I tell you, any opportunity to invest in knowledge that can stretch you is an opportunity to deliver yourself from a primitive life. What did I say? Any opportunity to invest knowledge in you that will make you to see life better is an opportunity to deliver yourself from a primitive life. Because if you remain with the same thinking, you'll be influenced by primitive experiences. What you're complaining about is a major opportunity. If you have a better understanding about life, you can exploit it and become too great. And do you know sometimes some people will look at you and they are pitying you. Why? Because they see an opportunity around you, you are fighting. And if they try to advise you, be angry. Have you seen such people who don't like advice? I was talking to somebody whom I wanted to make close to me. There have been a drag for us to meet. I don't know that destiny somehow upon my life has a way, because of what I've gone through and the kind of prayers I pray, is restricting certain things unconsciously from coming my way. And sometimes when you are persistent because of what your human perception admires, God has a way you frustrate it or creates an avenue for you to be able to see that this thing does not match what you expected or what you anticipated. This person who looks gentle wrote something on their status. Said, oh God, this is serious. When people don't understand your real you, they'll think you are proud and arrogant. But who cares? I don't care what people think. I inboxed the person and told the person, you are very arrogant and proud. So what do you mean? This and that. How will you just come and begin to speak like that? This and that. I said, because when you get into your real self, the first thing that happens is that when people don't understand you, their reactions will never marry with your expectation. And that is not a sign that they are bad. And that's not a sign that you have to react in a way. It's a sign that if you need them, you have to invest in them to get to your level. For two cannot work together unless they agree. And Jesus interceded for people whom he had helped, but their understanding was not at his level. They were fighting him. He said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Maturity would make you not to react the way those who are immature are reacting towards you, but invest to change something. You don't understand me, this and that. The way it was acting, before I want to every reply one comment, like 5 comments have come, oh this and that, must you comment on people's statue? You can look people's statue and ignore and pass. I say yes. So this is the person I wanted to keep close to my life. So God helped me. Sometimes God is helping people unconsciously because you have chosen a path which is of God's interest. So unconsciously, God begins to separate some people from you. And when you are not sensitive in the spirit, you'll be angry with the people you lose. Let me talk to you. Anytime you seriously and sincerely love God, some people will leave you in a season because it's necessary. And sometimes not because they are bad, but because in that season, if they stay around you, there can be some unnecessary compromises you make that can delay you to move forward. No matter people are important, some seasons they need to live your life. No matter how people are important to you, some seasons they need to live your life. Even your biological children cannot stay in your life forever because they'll grow to a place of maturity where they'll have their own patterns, which might not agree with your policies that govern your home. So they need to go and get their own home and visit you. So when people start getting to a place where their values are not complying with your values for you to get to your best. Now, if what you are heading for is of God's interest, God would naturally displace them from your life. God himself would displace them from your life. And why God does that intentionally is because he is too jealous about where he wants to carry your life to. Sometimes you don't know when God has started loving you. He will take away some things which you really like. And the question you must ask yourself, but I'm praying to God. So if I'm not having these things, it's not because God is not with me. It's not because I'm cursed. It's just because God is strict about what can hinder the beauty of tomorrow. You know, today our caption actually has to do with the perspective to prosper in the midst of problematic atmosphere. The concept of proactivity. That is our model 3. The perspective to prosper in the midst of problematic atmosphere. The concept of proactivity. Now, what I'm just explaining here is a scenario. Is what? A scenario where sometimes you're worried. Actually, something was comforting you, but that comfort did not give you the time to grow. So because God needs your attention, he takes away that thing. So you have time now to think. You have time to pray. Some people have not prayed until they have a problem. So when God starts giving you relief and you stop praying, it means you're inviting the same problems. If the only way to get your attention is problem, then the problems will come. Because God is using that to help you. So sometimes you don't need anybody to push you to pray. Find out what was absent that God had to create a situation to push you to a place of prayers. Then start becoming engaging in that thing. You will not need problems to come to prayers. Can I talk to you? Some people are there which God will intentionally bring around you, whom they have the capacity to help you. But God would put in their heart a strong desire not to help you. Not because they hate you. Ask me why. God is trying to teach you not to depend on people. And when you miss that education, you will have that experience for a very long time. But if you get the education, you will stop getting angry with the people. And then sometimes you'll be asking the questions. My brother, my sister, how did you get here? You'll not be asking them about money. Some people around your life, not for what you are desiring from them. When people are not giving what you are expecting to get from them, know that they are around your life for something different you have not discovered. What did I say? I said something serious. When people whom are around you are not giving what you are expecting from them, and they love you, know that they are around your life not for what you are expecting. They are around your life for something different. And if you don't find out why they are around your life, you might not be able to place the right value for their life. How to prosper, the perspective to prosper in the midst of problematic atmosphere. It's always a problem when people are not meeting up with your expectation. You see it as a problem also. When things are not happening the way you expect, when things contradict your expectation, it's like a problem also. So what is problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? Somebody should give me the definition of what a problem is.
Problem is where you lack understanding of the essence of something came around you. And
no, you're trying to define problem. What is problem? You're trying to explain. No, what is problem? In simple terms. You've not had problem before. What's problem? Experiences. Okay.
Problem is, I just said it. When you have a bad experience due to poor perception of something.
You're already coming now with the answer mentality, which I'm trying to be. That's where he was also trying to get to. Because you're listening to me. You have not listened to me. You think that people hate you. When people treat you the way you don't expect, when you have experiences that contradict your expectation, you call it a problem, no so. Now your definition now is the perspective that prospers in the midst of. Are you now understanding? That's the definition you're giving. That's what I'm building. But each time people have experiences that are not conducive to them, they call it a problem. Unexpected happenings, what they don't like, experiences you don't want, you call it a problem. You know, some of the things you don't like the way they are happening, actually, if you have a different perspective, you're going to see opportunities in them. Are you getting it? That is why somebody is celebrating what you are frightened by, because their perspective sees the true value of what your mind has refused to see. That's the definition people are getting into now. And that's the real thing. When your mind does not see the worth of a thing, its display will become problematic to you. You know, my 2023 definition of ignorance is very vital to help us to work on this concept. What is my 2023 concept definition for?
Ignorance is the presence of a wrong knowledge that makes you ignore the right knowledge.
Do you know there are people who stay around me, they don't know what I just said, just because he's listening to me currently. You see, one of the things that can kill you is that you work with the assumption of what you have heard a man yesterday, and you miss completely the current realities that connect you to the new dimensions. You might have the same concepts, but you don't enter into its evolutive, progressive dimension of it. So before you know it, you are wanting. They can ask you a question that can make you to disgrace yourself. And if people know that you were ever close to such a person, they'll be so embarrassed with you. Imagine that somebody whom is known into the prophetic, known when he's talking, people know him so much. Now he's opening a Bible school, and they call it Cameroon Prophetic School of Ministry. Cameroon Prophetic Bible School of Ministry. Cameroon Prophetic Bible School of Ministry. Everyone look at it and say he's a prophet, but he's not a teacher. So you see, when he gives prophecy, come here, controversy everywhere, this and that, but now it's in a different terrain. He's announcing it. And then now it got to his mind. Since he's a prophet, he knows now. Since he had been listening to my wisdom, which shall regulate him to a place where he knows the importance of education. So he's leveraging on that. What he knows, bringing people that they can come to build on to be able to raise a generation of people. He has registered it already at governmental level because of his influence. Now the advertisement is going. People are watching it. They're just watching. Sometimes you might think that people are not seeing what you are doing. They are seeing it, but there's no propelling factor that connects them to that reality. Now he has connected to me, made me his mentor. Now he now makes a flyer and put me there as the mentor of the program. Oh God. His inbox on WhatsApp became more. So this man is part of it. We are coming. They come and say, Papa, what is about you that people say teaching? You see, every day I'm teaching, like people are watching. And once you are consistent, there's one or two things they pick so they know that this man is dangerous. Look, you're not wasting time when you're on a positive venture. You are building an atmosphere. You are creating an atmosphere. Which when he begins to speak, look, what sells is a name, but you take time to build a name. You see, Coca-Cola has made a name. If any drink comes up, people go to buy drink. Some of the drinks can taste more than Coca-Cola. They will not buy it because they are not used to that name. You see it, you will not buy it. But the moment you take that same drink, put in Coca-Cola bottle, they will buy it until you not be able to imagine it. Why? He has made a name. So name sells. We have people who are wired to change this generation, but they're not connected to people who have made a name that can announce them. You see, in one day you can be known because you climb on a platform. People can hear what you're saying is powerful, but they don't give attention to it. But when a person who is known talked about you, people will go back and revisit your old messages. People will visit your old messages. So what am I saying? What am I saying? I'm saying that in actual sense, every man who wants to make it in life must know that everything that is acting oppressive around you is not actually a problem. It's acting oppressive because you did not give attention to acquire knowledge when it was necessary. So opportunities have come based on a prayer you made, but your preparation is not capacitated to exploit the opportunity. Who have heard what I've just said now? So some problems that you call problems are not problems, they are opportunities. And they are answers to a prayer you prayed in the past. Let me tell you, don't pray prayer and you refuse to grow in knowledge and think that you enjoy. No. You can be the highest praying machine, but if you don't grow in knowledge, even the opportunities come, they will oppress you. That's why scripture put it, the effective fervent prayer of the righteous. Righteousness is a state of right thinking, which is a product of growth in knowledge. Nobody can be deficient of knowledge and think right. So the efficacy of your prayer is when you have grown in knowledge. Praying with an empty head will attract opportunities which your preparation is not equivalent to, that will naturally end up as a problem. That's what I said before, in a different way. Praying with an unprepared self would attract the opportunities which, if your lack of preparedness cannot embrace them, it will afflict you. So every prophecy without a prophetic direction that developed the quality to be able to identify the prophetic manifestation and exploit them will keep you in a state where you think that the prophet was a fake. Nothing is actually a problem until you have a wrong understanding about an opportunity. What did I say? Nothing is actually a problem until you have a wrong understanding about an opportunity. Opportunities will come on daily basis through the encounters you have. Which implies no encounter comes your way by chance. Every encounter is an opportunity that presents itself. Lack of preparation will make the opportunities to be defined as a problem. So in other words, every problem is an opportunity which an unprepared mind defines as a problem. Write it. Post it somewhere. This is what my professor said. Oh God. When we understand this, we will stop complaining. We'll start finding out where are we deficient that we were unable to exploit this encounter. Instead, it oppressed us. You're not getting now. That's how you do. You get to a place you don't blame people. You work on yourself. Because you know that nobody will think for you. Because if you could think right, you could be able to manage that situation. But because you could not think right, you could not manage the situation, so you are blaming a person who was an opportunity your way. Even enemies can become your biggest opportunity. Depending on how you manage them. There is a manipulative strategy that is draining energy from you, you don't know. An encounter with an enemy can make you learn the secret of what is draining energy from you, and you stop it. God, where is I hearing that? What is the answer to David's prayer? God said you would surely overtake and recover all. But you see, there's a level of preparation that will make you to be able to explore the atmosphere that will permit the recovery. He met with an enemy that was dying. He had to feed that enemy. The enemy became strong, and the enemy revealed the secret of where the enemies are hiding. And that's how prophecy was accomplished. Some things are there you despise, which are the measured door to give you access to the breakthrough you have been praying for. What did I say? There are things you despise that are the measured door to lead you to a breakthrough you desired, you pray for. And because you despise it, your prayer would be hanging in the air. The Prince of Persia would keep on holding that which has been released for you because you don't know how to demystify it. Your inability to know what you need to know that will make you to explore encounters and benefit from them will keep you praying, but remain a prey. Don't write it down. And begin to wait and see another person in this generation will speak like that. There are simple statements like what I've made. You can take 3-hour seminar on it. Just analyzing with respect to day-to-day reality. Why is that you have been praying and problems are still surrounding you? There are people who try to pray only little, but they have results. You know that people pray for 2 hours. They don't have the result like somebody who pray for 1 hour. Because the other person's prayer is more effective because of their righteousness state. And righteousness is a state of acquiring right knowledge. And I say ignorance is the presence of wrong knowledge in a person. So a person with wrong knowledge praying, your prayer is not effective. You pray amiss. So don't be excited that my prayer level has increased. I now pray for 5 hours. If you are praying where what you carry in you is not wrong knowledge, that prayer has made you a religious witch. Do you know there are people whom they can travel in the spirit to tie your life? And they're using Bible. Because the wrong understanding they have, they think that you are their problem. They were marrying a man, you finally married a man. Oh, this person has sat on my seat. Just imagine, they fast, they pray. Your marriage should be having unnecessary tense experience because of one foolish person who did not know that that man was not meant for them. The presence of wrong knowledge in a prayer warrior makes him an enemy to the kingdom. Write it and post it somewhere and said, I said so. The presence of a wrong knowledge governing a prayer warrior will make him an enemy of the kingdom without knowing. A young man I brought from Nigeria, he came here. Brought him with the intent thinking that he's going to push music. He doesn't play piano. He doesn't play drum. He's playing saxophone. Saxophone cannot make music. So he instead became a liability. But because I had accepted him to come here, they have to take care of his transportation, mobility comes. So he's expecting that they should give him money for helping you to come and be exposed. He cannot raise one choir member. Even the few choir members that were there, he will shout at them. They became discouraged. He cannot play an instrument that can be able to coordinate an area. He goes now as a, saxophone is just a spice. One place to another. Playing saxophone, they are giving money. I bought him a new phone that is above the pay they can pay him. He didn't see it. Bought him dresses, gave him things. One day he went somewhere and I gave him much money. He's rushing to go and show back in Nigeria. Koshanti. When he went, something which he brought some people around, the God, and I asked, he reacted. You have not seen. You did not pay me. You brought me to come. You did not pay me. I said, what were you working? I was feeding you, taking care of you. You were not doing anything. He spoke because he benefited from the connections I gave him. He has stayed there. He has gone back to the reality of where he was, where life is oppressive. And the people whom he got connected to, he can't relate with them effectively because they are connected to me. He has sat and he could not sleep one night. He started apologizing. And I'm saying, I forgive him. He said, no, Papa, really forgive me from your heart. As if, I don't open my heart though. It's until you're not close to me, you will not know. I might not be happy with your action, but I don't hold people in my heart. If I hold people in my heart, I'm destroying my own self. You know what God says? Forgive them so that you shall be forgiven. If you don't know how to forgive people, it means you yourself have sin in you. It means you cannot be forgiven of your own. Each time you begin to forgive people, it means your own sins will leave you. Hey, don't learn that from me. I don't hold people in my heart. I might not be happy with you. Let me tell you, I've intentionally gotten to a place which I'm trying to help people to be able to understand this policy of living with people even when they are problematic, but not be influenced by them. I can still be a part of you, but I relate with you from a distance because being close to you can hurt me. So I help myself by keeping you in a distance. Doesn't mean I hate you. No, I'm helping myself. Are you understand what I'm saying? I'm helping myself. But any day your attitude changes in such a way that you cannot hurt me, I'll be close to you. So you get it now. So you must be intentional about everything you do. Sometimes you don't need to change the environment where you are. You just need to change the way you interact with people. Don't be too close to some people. Don't spend time talking with some people. Because each time you start talking to them, they can provoke your weakness to come up. Avoid people whom think in a particular way. Before you know it, your weak mind can be corrupted. There are people whom you find them positive within a while. As they start communicating with some people, their attitude just drop down. Their commitment drop down. Their prayer life drop down. You must be intentional if you want to succeed. Get close to people you think can be able to put you forward. Force yourself to them. Don't let anything people say. It doesn't matter. Let people talk. People always talk. Oh. You do good, they'll talk. You do bad, they'll talk. So let them just be talking. But what you do, you must help yourself is be connected to what can help you. Well, maybe if you're hearing the voice of people, will you still be here? You'll not be here. Nobody is advancing in anything because they are not distraction. It's that they have made up their mind because of the understanding they have. Life has distraction everywhere. Every your biological brother can be a distraction to you. The lady is telling me how the brother, voila, how she's working. The brother only comes to where she's working to collect her salary. He will never come to find out how she's doing. Only comes to collect salary. He's there laboring. And then, every when she gets in contact with the family, the brother has not done anything in the family. One day she just left the work. And they were like, why did you leave the work? The brother, he said, I can't be laboring. Even you are taking the money to invest on something, at least visit me. Let me know you have care and concern. Are you following what I'm saying? You can't abuse a relationship and expect to be able to maintain the relationship. It's not possible. You must grow to a place where you intentionally structure your life in such a way you build relationship purposefully and consciously calculating how instrumental they can be to your advancement. Let me tell you, nobody will die because you're not part of their life. And you will not die because somebody is not part of your life. You see, do you see this where some people can't fast so long? It's because sometimes they look like they'll die. Just try again, resist that voice. You will not die. When the time start approaching where you are supposed to close the fast, you will not be feeling hunger. It means something was fighting you. You see this food? Food does not bring satisfaction. Some people sometimes eat like drug. Food some people is like a drug. Some people smoke cigar to take away their worries. Some people are there, they eat cake, eat this, eat so many things. They are thinking that when they eat those things, they'll feel better. After they eat it again, their condition is still the same. So they become glutton When you find a person has gotten, who become gluttonous, know that the person has some worries. Don't mind it. Somebody can be suffering in an area, but if they tell you it's real problem, you'll be surprised. When you see somebody eats too much anyhow, they have problems. They think that the food can help solve them. When you are busy about accomplishing something positive, you don't remember eating. I'm telling you, try any day way you have something very positive to achieve, you will not remember eating. So in life, when you start building positive drives, food will become something you eat on purpose. You don't just eat anyhow. There are people who complain, oh, you spend money on drug and alcohol. Some people spend money on food the way some people spend money on drug and alcohol. They'll eat so and then they feel like, no, they need to eat bunny fish. Then no, they need to eat hamburger. The appetite level is not ending. It's moving from one level to another. Some people, their addiction is cloth. They'll buy clothes with you everywhere. It is a state where they have a problem they don't know how to manage. They think that when they buy that, it will solve the problem. Especially women, they go to market to buy. They will buy everything they don't need. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say here that you can outbeat the things that are controlling your life by intentionally structuring a life that builds in you a consciousness of what you want to achieve, what you want to become, and then carefully calculating what can help me to get to this level of accomplishment. Then give attention to it and separate yourself from what cannot help me to get to that accomplishment. Now, this is explanation I'm giving. But where is the diagnosis and where is the principle? The diagnosis is number one. Everything that you meet that is challenging you is something which your understanding is lower than its purpose. So I might like something, but if my understanding is lesser than its purpose, my connecting to that thing will make me suffer unnecessarily. There are some kind of women, don't try to marry them. Their bell standard that is above your primitive thinking. You'll be suffering not because they are bad women, just that you can't meet up with their standard. And they cannot come down from their standard. So you are the one looking for them. Either you grow to their standard for them to absorb you, or you leave them alone. And some women are there, they admire a man. And they don't care to understand they need to grow to the man's standard. Because two cannot work together unless they agree. Women, are you hearing? Don't marry a man. Don't get to a place of desperation. You just want man and man. No, don't get to that level. Say man and man. No. There's a man whom you would be a good person. But the man's level might either be lower than your own or higher than your own. We should be forcing you to not to be yourself if you must maintain the relationship. Are you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes when the anxiety of I'm married to day, when you married and have that kind of experience, you say, better would you do me so. That's the situation I face with most ladies now. Say, no, I don't want any man in my life. Because of one bad experience, they have run into wrong conclusions. And everywhere they meet with a man which they can marry, they don't want to give space to believe it. Now you must become intentional about everything. Intentional about everything. What quality must I build that will attract a person that can fit with my values? It is possible for you to attract somebody by your makeup. But your makeup is not your life. If your life is not made up in the line of your makeup, there will still be a conflict. A flexible person can adapt. But if you're not flexible, few people are really flexible. Because sometimes, especially in Africa where we have grown with oppressive atmosphere, it has built in us self-defense mechanisms where sometimes even when somebody is not an enemy, you think it's an enemy because it did not clap for you. Yes, somebody can just challenge you. You just think it's an enemy. It's against you because you have grown in a place where people were against you. So you think that this one is against you, but this one now actually loves you and wants to see that you become better. Are you seeing where a person is really reacting? No. Oh, why must you think that this and that? You see, you are defensive. It's born out of your yesterday's suffering. Some people need deliverance before they can be able to appreciate some good opportunities. Some opportunities can come your way, you'll not be able to appreciate them. You'll not be able to benefit from them. Why? Because your past year has a grip in your present. If you don't know how to separate yourself from your past, it becomes difficult for you to be able to relate with your present based on what your present actually is. Some people are related to their present based on yesterday's affliction. So it becomes a problem. Any tendency they don't understand, they think that this person is against them. They become resistant. They become resistant. They become resistant. Like Oma was sleeping, she sleep with knife. The husband is in her room. She sleep with a knife. Each time the husband you get up with a knife. Like a fight must come. The day which I went to get into the issue, I saw knife in their home. I know that this is serious. This is serious. And as far as it was like that, they could not stay together. No matter how. These are two successful people, they could not stay together. So people don't separate because one person is poor. No. Sometimes people are successful, but because they have not understood that what keeps a people together is when they have come to a place where their values marry. Don't marry a person with your value, don't marry the person. Forget it. Forget it. Some people are there whom their maturity has gotten to a place where they have made up their mind to manage a person's weakness. But in as far as the person is refusing to grow, at a particular point you'll be tired. Must you continue to sin so that grace will abide? So some relationships are there, you look at them, you say, wow, what a wonderful relationship. You don't know, one partner is mature, so he's managing the handicap of the other. And the other one is not willing to grow and outgrow it. The person will think that you are the problem when they are the problem. Don't want to be part of a person's life you're not willing to go where it's going to, especially for a woman. So you see, the reason why I say especially for a woman, because the terms is that a woman has to follow a man. So Bible says to the daughters of Zelophehad that she that wants to marry should think best. It means since a man comes, you find out where he's going. Is he going where you're going? That's the simple distinction. Now if you're the one going to look for a man, then it's the man who has to find out where you're going to. Not so. If I have to enter your car is going to Douala. I don't find out where you're going to, and I want to go to Bamenda. When you arrive Douala, I'll be angry with you. Is the problem actually you? I didn't find out because I just wanted a car. Don't just want a husband. Don't just want a business. Find out whether your natural drives correspond with the kind of business you want to get to. Because yes, somebody is making money in cement. You also go and buy cement and come and stock. You don't know how to package or market it. It becomes a problem. Some people are there with their natural lifestyle is fashion inclined. So if they are doing fashion business, they can market it because people see it in their life. Are you understand what I'm saying? Don't just enter into it also because you have money. You still fail. It's not money that makes you succeed in business. So the same thing I'm saying, it goes with marriage, it goes with every aspect of life. Anything you want to relate with, anything you want to be part of, find out what is the natural essence of that thing. Does it correspond with your essence? Because if there's no complementation, there will be complication, naturally. So what is the concept of proactivity? Before I engage into something, I must first look at the end of it. Is it going to end where I'm striving to end? If it's going to end where I'm striving to end, then I can give myself to it. No matter the challenges, I know I'll finally end where I have to end. Yeah. You get it now? So people cannot be able to resist the challenges that go with building a good relationship because they are not proactive. They didn't see the end. If I know that the end looks like what I like, the same way I was fighting for myself, I'll fight for it. I'll fight for the person. I'll fight for the business. You don't become persistent about something you don't see its future. You persist and finally end up a big scandal. You see, no matter you fast and pray for 100 years that I've made up my mind by the mystical, supernatural anointing of God, I will fast and pray for 200 days and my eyes will start talking. It will never talk. Because according to the constituent of purpose, I was not structured for that. Can I shock you? There are some men who are not meant for marriage. They are not meant for marriage. But you see, there's a possibility to build erotic desires in them. There's a possibility that religion also can create that kind of atmosphere. A man should not be a pastor if he's not married. As if the message you are preaching is your wife who will come and preach it for you. Are you understand what I'm saying? So there's some religious cautions that push people into things which they are never meant for. Hear what Jesus said. Some people are born eunuch. So if you are born a eunuch And then the religious world now is forcing you into something which is not natural with you. And they make it as a standard to prove that you are qualified to be a spiritual leader. What happens? They invite in your life what is not natural with you. You become a problem to it without knowing. Are you following some things? I'm trying to say some things which are serious here. And then he says that some have made themselves eunuch because they want to serve God effectively. Some who know that a woman in their life can become a distraction. They deal with their temperaments to become focused to accomplish their assignment. But a person who carries an orientation that, oh, marriage, they can even abandon their assignment for marriage. So it becomes difficult. So anything, even they are advancing in their assignment, they are not excited. Their enthusiasm is still watered because of marriage. So now they can give themselves to a marriage that can destroy their assignment. When they start destroying and they say the marriage is not going, then they start regretting. Look where I would have been. Don't let the anxieties of others influence you. Don't copy their behaviors. What you must do is let God change you, change the way you think. Implies that the quest of knowing God's plan for your life will relieve you from the unnecessary pressure society gives to you, church gives to you, friends give to you, parents give to you. Oh, look at my daughter, you don't reach in one marriage. Those are pressures coming, peer pressures coming from environment, people, family, and stuff like that. But once you have been able to dig and find out God's agenda, you realize that you will not be influenced by this atmosphere. You will be focused about what God has shown you. And when you're focused about it, you know that God told you that if I be able to accomplish this, then this will come. So you don't look for some things, the things look for you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, then every other thing shall be added unto you. You start looking for the things which ought to look for you. It's a wrong orientation. And that's what kills a lot of people. There's some private things you cannot say because let me use it. Somebody said, you see, what people envied of me is what I regret even entering into. You manage to balance a relationship and people like, wow, you have a model relationship. When the realities of what you are going through to put that image gets to a place where it expires grace level and explodes, and people are like, how did this happen? And then you are telling people that it was better I didn't even have a child or have anything. And the people are like, we are struggling to have this. Do you know God can keep you not to have a child? Because he wants to bring out something in you that will help your society. Yes. You see, Bible said none shall be barren. Not so. But God shut the womb of Rachel and he opened it back. Why don't you think that God is the one who allowed the atmosphere the way it is and you stop worrying and then seek God to find out what is his interest for your life in this season? Why don't you think that that business is frustrated not because it's not a bad business, but because God wants to do something else with you? Why do you also interpret that when things don't happen the way they happen, maybe something is wrong? No, you have the wrong understanding. If we get back to our definition, the presence of a wrong knowledge in a person will create problematic world experiences. That's what they call ignorance. Yeah. Does it define a lot? Now, I might be anxious about some things which is not needed at that time. If I don't find out to know what God is expecting of me in a particular time, my actions would not comply with that and naturally will have problems. So proactivity is when my mind has a projection of what is needed per time. I give attention to it. Even when it doesn't gratify my human desires, I must get to that place, not my will, but your will be done. Yeah. Because my will has its own anxieties, but the will of God carries the picture of what will give me true fulfillment. So proactivity is dying to your will and letting the will of God give you a projection which might not gratify your own desires, but carries in it all that will give you fulfillment. So sometimes it looks very stupid when you want to be proactive because your actions will not look like what glamours the minds of people. But the outcome of it is glory. Yeah. When Jesus let his will go, went through the pain of the cross, when the crown came, everybody wants to be Christ. Everybody wants to be a Christian. Everyone wants to be Christian. But he said, if any man will follow my path, they must deny themselves and carry a cross. The process of denying yourself is getting to a place where you tell yourself, whatever I'm feeling is not right. It's what God has in mind that is right. So I must find out to know the mind of God about whatever happens around me. The moment I know the mind of God about whatever happens around me, my worries would expire. The moment I've not known it, I'll keep on worrying. Worry is a sign that I'm living still in the confine of my will. But when I enter into the will of God, there's no more worry. That's my conclusion.
Amen.
Worry is a sign that what?
I'm living the comfort
Of my will. But the moment my mind integrates into the will of God, I will not worry. I can wait, knowing that God does not fail. If I know that God's promise is yea and amen, why do I worry? I only worry because I don't know His will. Proactivity is assessing the mind of God for the tomorrow you've never been in. That helps you to be focused and committed to a cause which might not generate anything now, but can give you great security in the future. Look at these things I'm saying. They are very deep. So how do we get to a closure? We get to a closure, number one, we must be intentional about seeking God's will for our life. We must live in a way where each time we are before a situation which torment or stress us, we must stop blaming people, blaming situation. We must get into a recess with God to find out where we are wanting in right knowledge that make us not to be able to explore that encounter. Put this in front of your mind. I didn't say at the back of your mind, in front of your mind. So at the back of your mind, you borrow it. In front of your mind, it should become a governing pattern. Every encounter that comes your way is a major opportunity. The ones you can't benefit from is a sign you are deficient of right knowledge. The one that stresses you when you are in anticipation you ought to succeed in is as a result of you gratifying a wrong knowledge in the place of what would have given you easiness. So the presence of wrong knowledge can make you be worried about something that will never happen. So when a situation happens your way, when encounters come your way, if you have not degenerated at the level of worry, know that you don't have wrong knowledge in you. You are just deficient of right knowledge. So you can seek God without strain when there is no wrong knowledge. But I can tell you, it's difficult to be able to seek God when wrong knowledge have taken the place of right knowledge.
Yeah.
What happens is that even when you are corrected, you argue the correction with the wrong knowledge you carry. Have you seen people whom, at least you people are my followers, have you been somewhere I said something and then somebody comes behind you is trying to justify? It's the presence of wrong knowledge in them that is trying to make them to still justify. They didn't learn from it. But when a person does not have wrong knowledge in them, when they are corrected, they go back, they start seeking to want to learn. You give them instruction, you give them guides. They will want to learn. But when you see a person trying to justify, wrong knowledge has created an assumption in their mind, which is not working. And watch such people. Many years they'll delay so many things until they come to change. So this young man is calling me every day, writing me every day. It's not one person now. At least doing the same thing for 20-something years. At least you already know things which anxiety will push people into, and you know the junction where they'll still come to adjust. So you become quiet. That's why I have a book, Teenage Excitement in Ministry. You know, so many people have not read it. Well, you think I just write book for joke? No. You have to study it until it becomes fashionable for you to understand. For you now to begin to profit from the encounters that come your way, because every book is visionary inclined. The vision, if you can read it, you will run with it. If you don't read it, you will not run with it. Are we there?
Yeah.
Questions? And what you had as an understanding? Pardon? Ok. Le plus grand résumé dans tout ça, ce qu'il dit, c'est que chaque rencontre dans la vie, c'est toujours une opportunité. Mais quand tu portes une connaissance que ça ne marie pas avec les rencontres que tu as, les choses là qui devaient être une opportunité, ça devient un problème pour toi. Donc les problèmes sont les opportunités que tu portes une mauvaise connaissance de ça. Première chose. Dieu n'a pas créé un problème. Il dit que l'ignorance n'est pas manque de connaissance. L'ignorance, c'est la présence d'une connaissance qui n'est pas droit. Donc ça te fait pour chercher à voir les choses, pour agir selon ce que tu penses. Et les choses n'étaient pas faites pour être comme ça. Donc tu vas toujours avoir les problèmes. Donc, quand tu portes une connaissance que ça ne marie pas avec la raison de quelque chose, ça va faire pour que, même on est en train de te corriger, les mauvaises connaissances qui sont en toi, qui te fait pour croire que c'est les bonnes connaissances, va combattre ça. Donc les gens qui portent les mauvaises connaissances en eux, qui croient que c'est les bonnes connaissances, vont toujours résister les corrections. Donc quelqu'un qui a l'attitude pour résister les corrections, c'est quelqu'un qui porte une mauvaise connaissance. Mais quelqu'un qui ne connaît pas est facile pour apprendre. Mais quand tu portes déjà une connaissance, que ça ne marche pas, ça ne te donne pas ce que tu veux, il faut arriver à la compréhension que ça, je n'ai pas besoin de ça. Donc, pour faire la différence dans ta vie, tu dois arriver à une conscience d'intentionnellement te séparer à certaines choses que ça ne te pousse pas pour avancer à les réalisations des choses que c'est au-dessus de ce que tu as déjà eu. Donc, des gens qui sont proches de toi, même c'est les gens qui sont des mêmes sangs de toi, si leur vie ne te pousse pas pour t'avancer dans la vie, pour t'aider même, c'est pour t'éloigner de eux. Donc, certains temps, tu te sépares pour certaines personnes, pas parce que tu les détestes, c'est parce que tu veux t'aider. Tu cherches à t'aider pour éloigner certaines choses, éloigner certaines personnes, éloigner certaines rencontres. Donc, tu peux aimer quelqu'un, mais tu fais les distances parce que tu connais que les personnes, si elles sont très proches de toi, il va t'influencer. Et quand tu grandis et tu atteins dans le niveau que tu sais que maintenant je suis fort pour gérer cette atmosphère. Donc quand je rencontre telle atmosphère, je ne suis pas peur parce que maintenant je porte la connaissance que je ne peux pas être influencé par l'état de ces personnes. Mais il peut influencer les personnes là. Dans les temps là, tu peux permettre que les personnes aient proche de toi. Les temps là, tu vas fonctionner comme un leader sur les personnes. Tu vas influencer les personnes positives. Mais les personnes que tu ne peux pas les influencer, vont finalement t'influencer. Donc, ne laisse pas les sangs pour te faire couler avec certaines personnes qui vont t'influencer et tu vas échouer. Parce que quand tu échoues, c'est les mêmes personnes qui vont te rire de toi-même. Donc, dans la vie, certains temps, nos propres désirs, ça devient comme un blocage pour l'avancement. Parce que les opportunités que Dieu a prévues, que ça peut nous faire avancer, nos désirs peuvent être contre ça. Donc ça fait pour qu'on va rejeter les choses que ça peut nous aider. Donc certains temps pour avancer dans la vie, tu dois rester toi-même et faire les calculations. Tout ce que j'ai cru en, est-ce que ça m'apporte là où que je désire pour être? Si ça ne t'apporte pas, tu dois te séparer de ça. Tu dois déverser ça hors de toi. Et chercher à connaître ce que tu ne connais pas. Certains temps, tu deviens comme un enfant. Tu fais comme tu ne connais rien. Parce que tu veux connaître une autre chose. Telle personne vient à l'église avec les perspectives que j'ai déjà connues. Avant qu'on ouvre Genèse, je connais Jean 1, tu commences à rester dans ton cœur. Tout te bloque pour apprendre. Parce que les mêmes écritures-là peuvent venir avec une nouvelle dimension de révélation. Mais quand ton pensée a déjà mis que je connais déjà ça, ça te bloque pour apprendre. Donc pour apprendre, tu dois déverser toi de tout ce que tu connais. Ça permet que tu peux être rempli d'une connaissance que ça peut te changer. Et il y a des choses quand même que certains gens peuvent résister, peuvent supporter. Mais c'est pour un bout de temps. Donc il y a des personnes que tu peux supporter. Mais après un moment, tu ne peux pas avoir les capacités pour résister encore. Donc si tu engages sur quelque chose que ce n'est pas bien, tu peux résister pour un bout de temps. Quelque chose que ce n'était pas destiné pour être. N'importe comment que tu pries, tu gênes, qu'à mesure de temps ça va changer, ça ne va pas changer. À mesure de temps ça va te briser. Quand la Bible dit est-ce qu'on va continuer dans les péchés pour que la grâce de Dieu parle? Donc la grâce c'est que ça te permet que tu peux supporter. Ça c'est la grâce qui te permet de supporter. Mais la grâce là, si les choses ne changent pas, à mesure de temps, tu ne peux pas avoir la force pour encore supporter. Donc dans la vie, ne laisse pas quelque chose qui déverse ta force. Engage-toi sur quelque chose que ça va faire ta force pour canaliser, pour donner le résultat. Donc ne te donne pas toujours pour être sur les gens que tu les supportes toujours. Ça prend la force, l'énergie que tu devais investir pour quelque chose que ça va te faire avancer. Dans la vie, il y a certaines relations que tu ne dois pas garder. Même c'est les sangs. Parce que si tu vis selon la chair, Jésus-Christ dit que tu veux me suivre ma part. Tu dois te... non, tu dois... tu dois te refuser de toi-même. Parce que tes propres désirs, ça peut te bloquer de la réalité de ce que tu ne connais pas. Jésus-Christ, si tu veux me suivre, tu dois refuser à laisser tes sentiments, tes émotions, tes propres désirs pour te gouverner. Parce que la volonté de Dieu porte les vraies connaissances qui vont t'amener dans ton repos. Par rapport à ce que tu connais, il y a des choses que tu peux voir que c'est bon. Est-ce qu'à mesure du temps, quand ton connaissance est améliorée, c'est une chose que tu aimais, tu n'aimes plus? Dans le temps que ton connaissance était dans le niveau là, c'était comme c'était bien. Maintenant que tu as grandi dans la connaissance, tu vois que c'était primitif. Donc tu peux réjouir dans les choses primitives parce que tu n'as pas grandi. Donc ça dit quand même que tu peux réjouir avec certains désirs de ce que ça peut détruire ton avenir parce que ton pensée n'a pas changé. Donc pour suivre Jésus-Christ, il dit que rejette ces désirs-là, tue ça et porte ton croix. Pourquoi c'est les croix? Le croix, c'est le processus qui t'amène à grandir dans la connaissance qui va te permettre pour exploiter l'opportunité. Les prix que tu dois payer. Donc, ça dit quand même que maintenant, il y a d'autres qui ont dormi jusqu'à cette heure-ci, ils se lèvent. Ils ne sacrifient pas les sacrifices d'autres qui étaient ici. Est-ce qu'ils peuvent connaître ce qu'ils connaissent? Donc, quand une opportunité vient, le manque de connaissance va faire, ils souffrent. Mais toi que tu as payé les prix, tu ne vas pas souffrir. Donc, payer les prix aussi, il y a les souffrances dans ça. Quand Dieu a dit que si, à 1 Pierre, chapitre 5, verset 10, il dit que dans mon bon cœur, j'ai choisi à t'appeler pour être un parti de mon gloire. Mais après que tu vas souffrir pour un bout de temps, je veux tes capacités pour être parfait. Je vais t'établir. Et vais te bénir. C'est-à-dire que quoi? Le processus pour avoir la connaissance qui va te permettre pour être indépendant, ça vient avec les souffrances. Parce que tu sors dans tes habitudes. Maintenant tu es ici. Ça c'est le sacrifice. Tu vois? Ça c'est le sacrifice. Pour payer, c'est le sacrifice. Mais ce que ça va t'amener, ça va te faire pour être établi. Et le temps là, tu vas être dans le confort et tu vas être fulfilled, ça dit que quoi en français? Rassasié. Tu vois, tous les gens n'ont pas dit les
Ce
français.
n'est même pas ça.
C'est quoi?
Fulfilled, c'est comme
Ce n'est pas. Non, c'est pas c'est comme. C'est quoi?
C'est achevé.
Achevé, c'est quoi?
Fulfilled.
Oui,
Achevé. Accompli, non?
non, that's been accomplished.
Even though
Those are synonyms.
synonyms, they're just
Tu vois?
they're just synonyms.
Pour être rassasié, c'est dit que quoi?
Rassasié, c'est pour être plein.
Fulfilled.
I'm saying I know.
In that context.
In the context of French, is to be
In
filled
the
with
context, no, not food.
food. No, but in the
No.
context of French, it's food.
It's not food in French.
De connaissances, tu peux être rassasié.
C'est ça. Tu vois pourquoi il veut être limité?
Un but.
Mais il y a des mots que aussi que ça